Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. Jackals is a 2017 horror stroke thriller movie that it stars Deborah Kara Unger, Jonathan Sheich, I'm sorry I don't know how to pronounce your name, Stephen Dorff and Ben Sullivan, and is directed by Kevin Grutert, who apparently has directed a couple of the Saw movies. And this is a house invasion type movie in the same vein as The Strangers and You're Next, things like that. And it tells a story of a family who has essentially been torn apart because of their son, who they lost to a cult, and they decide to get their son back. So they hire an ex-marine played by Stephen Dorff to track down this cult essentially, and we don't see this, and they kidnap their son back, take him home to like a cabin in the woods type thing where they live, in the hope that they can stop the brainwashing that has been going on with this cult and bring their son back to them, as he is clearly a very angry and damaged young man. But what they don't plan for is the fact that they have actually underestimated this cult, and the cult track them down, surround the house, and basically make their life pretty uncomfortable for the evening, to say the least. And they essentially want their follower back, their son Justin, I believe he's called. And they will do anything to ensure that he is returned to them. As the slogan says, family first. So the cult, when you're in the cult, you are their family. And it's interesting as well because the son, when they take him back home, he doesn't see them as his family anymore. He sees the cult as his family. He would be quite happy to see his family slaughtered, so that he can get back to the cult. Even his baby daughter, his girlfriend's there, and his newly born baby daughter, in the hope that they can make him change his mind, and he has no interest in them either. So that's it. The story essentially is the family trying to survive the night without losing their son back to this cult, and also losing their lives too. That's the gist of the story. Now, I have to say, I'm not really a huge fan of this type of genre horror thriller movie, like the house invasion type stuff. I've not seen The Strangers. I've seen You're Next, and I thought that was okay. I don't think it was anything particularly special, even though I know that was quite highly anticipated. But I actually quite enjoyed this. I actually think it's better than You're Next as well, which, you know, I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with that. But I thought this was a really well made film. I thought they were clever in the casting. I thought everybody that they cast in the movie was impressive. Good acting throughout. The direction was very good. The storytelling was very good. They built tension excellently. There was a couple of scenes in the movie that really are edge of the seat stuff. And very, very few missteps. Some missteps. I think at the end there was a little bit of confusion as to what was happening with the son. You don't know if he's turning against the cult or the family, and it never truly explains that. Things like that. And I would have liked to have seen more of Stephen Dorff in the movie. But I thought it was actually a really, really well made film, really quite well constructed. Like I say, the horror elements are pretty good when they're there. The cult are very mysterious. They never say a word. The only cult member who you hear speaking really is Justin, the son. And, you know, he was puddled enough, really. He was happy to see his family butchered and murdered, and his daughter and things like that. You don't really want to hear the rest of the cult speaking, especially the leader. So they're silent. They kind of just stand there in the grounds and in the gardens, just looking cool and mysterious, I suppose. They don't say anything, but they do look very, very sinister. but they don't do a great deal. And the idea is, I mean, I suppose if they could have stormed the house, they could have killed everybody in moments, but they didn't. It was like a test for some of the cult members to see who could get into the house successfully, that kind of stuff. So it was a test that he was testing some of his cult members, the leader, that sort of thing. I think my biggest issue with this movie is it's like a normal family. I mean, they hire an ex-marine to be like the muscle, but when they can't rely on him anymore, when the cult turns up and they can't rely on him anymore, and they realise things are going bad quick, they suddenly turn into like the most resourceful little Rambos ever. They're ransacking the drawers for weapons, they're putting oil on the stove to heat it up and use as weapons, the gaffer taping knives and things to handles to make weapons. And you're just like, bloody hell, they suddenly just turned into Rambo, this lot. It's just a normal everyday family. I think if that was me in that situation and there was a cult outside my house, you know, I'm not sure what I'd do, but I'm not sure I'd turn into Rambo immediately and start creating weapons out of my kitchen drawers. It was all a bit, you know, it went from, we've got our son back, relief, cult turning up, right, defend ourselves, get all the weapons ready, let's get ready to kill. And it was a bit like, that's not normal family behaviour. You would literally cack your pants and probably it'd be over in 10 minutes. But I suppose it was to make the film more interesting. I suppose it just didn't make an awful lot of sense to me. So there were a couple of things like that in the movie that were just a bit odd, you know. The cult, you know, like I say, they just stood in there, they stood around looking cool, didn't do an awful lot. So they were very stylish but very lazy cult. They didn't do much. But I suppose when they did do something, it was effective enough. There was a lot of cool things to see in regards to the movie, but it was fairly slow paced. But I quite enjoyed it as a thriller. This was a fairly effective movie, and I did enjoy it. It was well made, it was well acted, and well constructed as a movie. And it doesn't really give you a glittery, lovely ending either. So, a decent film, this.